Sarah noticed it on a Tuesday. Nothing dramatic, just her husband, Michael, sitting across from her at dinner, smiling at his phone. A soft, private smile she hadn't seen in months. Not directed at her, at the screen. "What's funny?" she asked. "Just work stuff," he said, still smiling. That smile haunted her for days. They'd been married 23 years, 2 kids in college, a mortgage almost paid off, a life that looked perfect from the outside. The kind of marriage people called solid. But solid can also mean silent. When did they stop talking, really talking? Sarah couldn't pinpoint the moment. It had happened slowly, like a photograph fading in sunlight. One day you look up and realize the colors are gone. Michael worked in corporate finance, long hours, constant emails, back-to-back Zoom calls. She understood. She'd always understood. "It's just work," became his mantra. At breakfast, typing. At dinner, scrolling. In bed, the blue glow of his screen illuminating his face in the dark. Just work. Sarah tried to remember when she'd last had his full attention. His eyes on her, not over her shoulder. His mind present, not half disappeared into that small rectangle of glass and light. She'd become background noise in her own marriage. The realization came slowly, like waking from anesthesia. First, the fog, then the sharp clarity of pain. It started with small things. Michael would come home, kiss her on the cheek, a gesture so automatic it felt rehearsed, and immediately reach for his phone. Before taking off his shoes, before asking about her day. "How was work?" she'd ask. "Fine," he'd say, eyes already on the screen. One-word answers, the vocabulary of distance. One Saturday morning, she suggested they go hiking, something they used to do before the kids, before the promotions, before whatever this was. "Can't today," Michael said, thumbs moving across his keyboard. "Big project." "It's Saturday." "I know, but—" His phone buzzed. He read the message, and there it was again. That smile. Soft, almost guilty. He typed back quickly, his whole body leaning into it, the posture of someone engaged, present, alive. Sarah felt something crack inside her chest. "Maybe next weekend," he added, but she could hear it in his voice, the emptiness of a promise neither of them believed. She wasn't a jealous person, never had been. In 23 years, she'd never checked his phone, never questioned his late nights at the office, never doubted him. But jealousy isn't always about another woman. Sometimes it's about being replaced by a phone. She started noticing patterns. The way he'd angle his screen away when she walked by, like a poker player protecting his cards. The way he'd take his phone to the bathroom, like a teenager hiding cigarettes. The way his face would light up at a notification, a brightness that dimmed the second he looked at her. The way he'd laugh at something on his screen, then glance at her as if remembering she was there, the laugh dying in his throat. Sarah found herself doing things she'd never imagined, walking past him just to see if he'd hide the screen, starting conversations to see if he was listening, making dinner in silence, waiting for him to notice. He never did. "How was your day?" she asked one evening, setting his plate in front of him. He said, scrolling. Not even a word, just a sound. Sarah sat down across from him, watched him eat with one hand, phone in the other. His eyes never left the screen. "Michael." "Look at me." He glanced up, annoyed. "What?" "When's the last time we had a real conversation?" "We're talking right now." "No, we're not. I'm talking, you're texting." He sighed, the sigh of the martyred, the misunderstood. "Sarah, I'm just dealing with work stuff. Can we not do this right now?" "Do what?" "This, whatever this is." He stood up, took his plate to the sink, phone still in hand. I heard him laughing softly in the other room. Laughing? When was the last time she made him laugh? "Who's Jessica?" Sarah asked one night, trying to sound casual. Michael's head snapped up. "What?" "Jessica. You mentioned her at dinner last week. Said she was having a rough time." "Oh," he relaxed. "Yeah, she's on my team, going through a divorce. I've just been, supportive." "That's nice of you." "Yeah, well, she's been really stressed. Her husband was, anyway, it's complicated." He said it like it explained everything. Maybe it did. You talk to her a lot? I guess. She needs someone to vent to. What about me? What about you? When's the last time you vented to me? Michael looked at her like she'd asked him to solve a calculus problem, confused, tired. I don't know, Sarah. I don't keep track. I do, Sarah said quietly. It's been 4 months. Sarah wanted to be the cool wife, the understanding wife, the wife who didn't snoop or interrogate or make a scene. But every night, as Michael sat beside her in bed, texting someone who wasn't her, she felt herself becoming a ghost in her own life. She tried to read, but the words blurred. She tried to sleep, but her mind kept circling back to that smile, that soft, private smile that used to be hers. "Who are you talking to?" she asked one night. "No one," he said automatically. Then, catching himself, "Jessica. She's having a hard night." "It's 11 p.m. "I know. She can't sleep. Her husband's being difficult about custody." He said it gently, reasonably, like it made perfect sense to be emotionally available to another woman at 11 p.m. while her own wife lay beside him, invisible. Sarah started paying attention to the small changes in him. The way he'd shower as soon as he got home, even on days he worked from home. The way he'd started wearing cologne again. Not for her. He never leaned in close anymore. The way he'd volunteered to run errands alone, grocery shopping, picking up dry cleaning, things he used to complain about. Now he seemed eager for the excuse to leave, always with his phone. It happened accidentally. Michael left his phone on the countertop, screen up. He was in the shower, Sarah was making coffee, trying not to think about how long the shower was taking, trying not to wonder if he was in there texting. The phone buzzed. "Jessica, you always know how to make me laugh. Thank you for being you." Sarah stared at the words. They weren't sexual, weren't explicit, no hearts, no kisses, no explicit promises, but they cut deeper than any confession of physical betrayal. "You always know how to make me laugh." When was the last time Michael had made her laugh? When was the last time she thanked him for being himself? When was the last time they been them? She didn't read more. Didn't need to. The phone buzzed again. "Jessica, I don't know what I'd do without you right now." Sarah set down her coffee cup before she could drop it. She understood now. He wasn't having an affair, not in the traditional sense. There were no hotel rooms, no secret meetings, no lipstick stains on collars, no suspicious credit card charges. But he was giving someone else the best parts of himself, the attention, the presence, the warmth, the person he used to be with her. He was emotionally unavailable at home because he was emotionally invested elsewhere. Sarah thought about the early years, the way Michael used to wait for her texts, the way he'd call her on his lunch break just to hear her voice, the way he'd share everything, the funny thing his boss said, the frustrating meeting, the small victories of an ordinary day. Now he shared all of that with someone else. She'd become the roommate, the logistics coordinator, the person who reminded him about bills and doctor's appointments and his mother's birthday. Jessica got the laughter, the vulnerability, the connection. Jessica got her husband. That night, Sarah sat down across from him at the table, not the couch where he could scroll mindlessly, the table, face to face. "We need to talk." Michael looked up, wary. "About what?" "About the fact that you're not here anymore." "I'm right here." "No," Sarah said quietly, "you're not. Your body is here, but you're somewhere else, with someone else." His jaw tightened. "I'm not cheating on you." "I know." "Then what are you—" "You're having an emotional affair, Michael." The words hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. "And I don't know how to compete with the phone." He started to argue, told her she was overreacting, that it was just work, that Jessica was just a friend, just a colleague going through a hard time, that Sarah was being paranoid, jealous, unreasonable. But even as he said it, his phone buzzed on the table between them. He glanced at it instinctively, and Sarah saw the truth in that glance, the way his eyes softened, the way his hand moved towards it. "See," Sarah said, "that's what I'm talking about. It could be important. It's always important. She's always having a crisis. She always needs you." Sarah's voice cracked. "When's the last time you asked what I need?" Michael stared at her. For the first time in months, he actually looked at her, saw her. "I didn't realize," he started. "You didn't realize because you stopped paying attention." "If something good happens to you," Sarah asked, "who do you reach for first? Whose notification makes your heart lift? Whose attention feels like home? If it's not your partner, you're not having an affair. Not yet, but you're standing at the edge of something, a choice, a moment where you can step back or step forward. Work can be an excuse, a screen can be a shield, and emotional intimacy can slip away so slowly you don't notice until you're living with a stranger. The question isn't whether you love your partner. The question is, where are you giving the best parts of yourself? Because that's where your heart is, and your marriage can't survive on what's left over.